I just by chance saw a post on Nextdoor that is part of this hideous budget package. BLM lands all around Mary's Peak are could be up for sale.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a link within that post, and I intend to let people know about it. She said you'll find nearly all of the Siuslaw, huge swaths of the Willamette, and a lot of other Forest Service and BLM land in the catalog that are for sale.
Oh, God.
Good. Just,
Will you please send whatever you find, Karen?
yeah, I think I'll try to post in this came on my phone. I just got a new computer, so I'm not sure how I can go from the email post to copy and paste it to the chat here. We'll
No,
see
I
if I,
get that. No,
we'll,
you can just do it after the meeting another time. Yeah, it doesn't have to
yeah,
be. It's easier actually for me.
okay, I'll do
That's
that.
just so. I don't want to say, can it get any worse? I
I,
just can't say it because it seems to.
yeah, it's like what everybody is saying, you know. It just can't, how can it get worse? But it gets worse every day.
so Mark is trying to get in. I'm sending him another invitation.
But there are some positives. I read um, Paul Krugman's column yesterday as an email. A number of law firms are losing firms. Clients are leaving because they can't trust the law firms that have caved to fairly represent them. They want law firms that will fight. So,
Good.
and there were fewer people at the Dear Leader parade than were anticipated, and there
Yeah,
were millions of people at other protests. So I think there's some things that we should
Yeah,
be that we should
it
focus
was
on and be
so
happy about.
amazing all over the country and little
All
town
over. My
Boise.
sister,
Yeah, Boise.
Boise, Watertown, South Dakota,
Yeah,
had guys in trucks with rifles mounted in the back, giving them thumbs up as they drove by.
wow. I
Yeah.
saw one sign here, and I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was a big truck and said, just because I'm in a big truck doesn't mean I support MAGA. It was great.
Yeah. Hi.
After we were finished, when Don and I were leaving, I went all the way down, turned around. I wanted to come all the way back down and experience the whole thing. And that was amazing. I mean, the crowd was all the way to Tommy's restaurant. That's quite a ways.
That's
hmm
And
great.
Safeway down there, the parking lot was packed. People were walking with signs. It was just like, uh,
Yeah, it was a great turnout.
Yeah, I saw ahead of time. My brother lives in Enterprise, Oregon, and he would not have, he's mentally ill. He wouldn't have been at a protest, but there was one scheduled for there, which I thought was wonderful. And also Roseburg, where we lived decades ago, and there was this protest scheduled for there as well. So I thought, yeah, it was great.
yeah.
I don't know if anybody subscribes to Heather Cox Richardson's daily
I
column.
do. I
Yeah.
do. I love
Yeah,
it.
I do
Yeah.
too. She can be really
Oh
encouraging
no, she
also.
is.
Did you guys see the protest bus?
No. Hmm.
Yeah, there was a Volkswagen bus parked right out in front of the county courthouse.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw that. Yeah.
That's my bus.
Oh, that's yours? Oh, I saw
Oh,
it. Yeah, because when we first got there was hardly anyone there because we met Fritz and Norina, and I saw it clear, and I thought, and there are other cars parked there. So I'm glad they didn't park out front. Everybody be sitting on my car, but that's great.
Yeah, I actually sold it to a patient of mine like 8 years ago. It used to be the Barf Mobile, so it was a protest against the tobacco industry.
Ah,
Oh,
And
that's
I went
great.
to several communities, several counties around the state with that bus. And I finally sold it to this patient of mine, and he's transformed it into a generic protest bus. And there's actually a story in the most recent barometer about the history of the bus and how this fella that bought it from his family doctor in Corvallis.
Who may that be?
At any rate, it's kind of cool.
No, it is cool. That was
It is
great.
cool.
I'm going to drop out to see if I can get Mark an invitation. My Wi-Fi is hiccuping here, so I'm going to drop out and try to get an invitation to him.
Okay.
There's another post on the internet about what will happen to the 4th Congressional District, our district, regarding healthcare in the bill. And it's saying that within our 4th district, 33,240 are at risk of losing health insurance. 23,000 who are covered by the ACA could have their premiums go up by $1,070. 27,000 would lose some or all of their SNAP benefits. And those in the top 1/10 of 1% will save over $1,000 per day in taxes. Maybe we should pick some of this up for our social media messaging. It's a next door.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are good. Those are good bullet points. Yeah.
It's a
So
Carrie.
that, well, sorry,
Someone
go
called
ahead.
Carrie P is posting these things.
I noticed in the past, I may have mentioned this before, the representative for Eastern Oregon does not have a zip code screen on his website. So you can write him. I've written him and said, I'm writing on behalf of my brother because I'm his guardian, thinking if he loses any part of his support, I can't, I mean, also many more would if he was any kind of indication, and but I never heard anything back. But I wrote anyway. I include him whenever I write uh, our senators or anybody else, and I'm honest and upfront. I am writing on behalf of my brother who lives in your district. So
Good.
I'm still trying to get Mark in.
That's weird.
I had problems signing into this meeting.
What kind of problems did you have, Karen?
Oh, waiting
Yeah,
for the host to sign
I
to
did.
let me in.
Yeah, I did too.
That was me. That wasn't technology. I was late.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
But
Usually it's the wrong kind of join.
yeah, but now it's technology that's hiccuping here.
Yeah, so many of the meetings, if I'm hosting, I just turn off the waiting room feature. Because,
oh,
Oh,
yeah, because when people are coming, and the meeting's already started, it's really hard because you don't pay attention to them and they're sitting out there. But
okay, Karen Christensen, I made you co-host, so I can drop out. Actually, I have to make you a host.
Oh, power.
Yeah.
all
Okay.
powerful.
Could Mark call in?
He could. I just want to see if I can.
Yeah, if this doesn't work.
Yeah. Make host. Okay, now Karen, you are host, and I'll see what I can do to get Mark in.
Mike
and
to
was
the
Warren
rescue once
coming
again.
as well?
Who?
Was Warren coming as well?
Oh, I thought he was.
Maybe at 4:30 or
Okay.
4:40. He's coming back from an event up outside of Portland.
Well, I hope everybody's been enjoying this glorious weather, doing nice
Yes.
things outside.
I like the mild, 70-ish. That's my perfect. It's
Yeah,
my very favorite.
it's the best.
Kathy, are you feeling better?
I am,
What happened,
up
Kathy?
and dressed. We went on a really fabulous vacation to
Uh,
Alaska, a cruise, and then a few days up in Denali National Park. And we met lots of interesting people. And I think all these, including me, all these interesting people brought their germs from everywhere. And we just came home with uh, bad colds, not pneumonia, not COVID, just cold. So I'm still coughing, but I've given up the sounding like I'm smoking for decades voice and all
oh,
that. So
When did you get back?
we got back 2 weeks ago last Thursday. We've been back for a while and we just were glad to be retired and laying around till we felt better. So, but thank you.
Since I'm going on the same cruise, absent Denali, on we start Sunday.
Ooh,
I'm wondering what we should do, Kathy, to avoid getting as sick as you got.
Well, I've kind of racked my brain because we did all the things you're supposed to, like wash your hands and um, we didn't wear masks. And I think it's like the first time since the before COVID that we flew and didn't wear masks. That's the only thing I can think of because when we fly lately, we've still been wearing masks.
that's probably the
I don't know.
culprit.
Yeah, I don't know. Otherwise, everything seemed good. I mean, the ship seemed clean. I would say the place that we stayed in Denali wasn't as clean as the ship, but you can't see germs. So
Yeah.
anyway,
yeah.
it was a great trip. Just absolutely beautiful up there. I mean,
It's so
beautiful.
beautiful. We used to live there. So it's our
Oh my
50th
goodness.
anniversary on Saturday.
Oh,
And I wanted to go back because we went there 2 days after we got married for John's job for fishing game. And it was like kind of for never being there before as a young, I was 2 days after being married and zip up there.
Mhm.
whereabouts in Alaska did you live?
Well, John's from Juneau. He grew up in Juneau, but our job was in Petersburg, the little Norwegian town, his job. And then we've lived on the Kenai Peninsula when we worked for fishing game. Yeah.
Mike's got his hand up, and
Oh, Mike.
Yeah.
Mark has joined us.
Thank God.
Yes. So, sorry, Mark.
That's
So
okay.
the other protection that I think is worthwhile, and I think Chen Wei-Chi agrees, is nasal lavage with normal saline, which is say 6 ounces of warm water, half teaspoon of salt, half teaspoon of soda. And I always do that after going on a plane ride. I always wear a mask on the plane, and it seems to have protected me from getting this. And I don't know why we didn't make that public policy at the beginning of the COVID.
Yeah.
That
The
sounds
theory,
good.
the theory behind it is that the duration and intensity of any infection is directly related to the number of organisms that land on your mucosa. So if 10 million viruses land on your nasal mucosa and you reduce it to 1 million, you probably still get the cold, and but it will be 1/10 the duration and 1/10 the severity.
Well, I would do that. There was one day, a couple days before we came home, where we were on a bus, and everyone on every side of me was coughing, and I just thought, I am doomed,
Oh, man.
but
Yeah.
because you got to breathe. But anyway, it was like I was thinking this is like kennel cough for dogs, except it's you know.
Yeah. Well, thank you for waiting around for me. Shall we begin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see. There were some minutes and any additions or corrections that people remember? If not, can I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And Holly seconds. All those in favor, raise a paw and cough. Okay. Are there any additions to the agenda? Oh, Kathy, you have your hand up. Kathy, did you? No. Okay.
Are
Karen?
we voting for officers in June?
Yes, at the annual meeting. And it comes in two pieces. Karen.
So it's at our advocate meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So any additions to the agenda? Mike?
Yeah, I'm recording this, and instead of using Otter, I'm hoping I can use the Zoom companion AI if I can figure out how to do it. There's been more concerns about Otter, too much access in the cloud to our personal information. But anyway, that's the possibility. We'll be shifting away from Otter. But anyway, I'm recording it and then figuring out how to transcribe it. And then we'll get that on to Shelley. I think I don't know if she's secretary yet. Or are you still?
Not until after yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
taking minutes.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking
Thanks.
minutes.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sandy. Okay. So Kathy and Mike, you might want to, take your hand down. All right. So no additions to the agenda. That's what I think I'm hearing. All right. This may be a fairly short meeting, having spent 10 minutes getting on, but outside of that, depending on how the discussion with Warren goes, and he'll be coming on in a few minutes. So let's do committee reports, and I think we're all anxious to hear from the legislative committee what's happened in the last couple of weeks. Karen and Bruce.
Well, today Mike found out and confirmed that the pharmacy bill to protect independent pharmacies isn't going anywhere. And maybe Mike, since you had the email and circulated to a few of us the press release from the Pharmacy Association, want to give a little more detail to that?
Sure. So Alex called and said, "What's the status?" I called Brian Mayo, the executive director of the Oregon Pharmaceutical Association. He said he had learned from Rob Nose or other source that the bill is dead for all practical purposes, and that the main reason is that Rob Nose and now Speaker Fahey are keeping it trapped in rules. So the Oregon Pharmacy Association put out a press release basically blaming the Democrats for holding this bill up and encouraging Republicans to spring it out of the Rules Committee and onto the floor for a vote, because I think the essence is that it is bipartisan and it should pass if it gets to the floor. So it puts us in an awkward position. Brian wants our help. If we can, but we don't want to alienate Rob Nose or Speaker Fahey. So I have questions in for Mary Lou Henrich for some guidance. Maybe Tom Sinsick would have some ideas, and maybe all of you have some ideas.
You should know too that Mike and Bruce and I were on a call last night, an HCO call, and Charlie Swanson, wants to bring that and similar bills back in the short session. So maybe it's best to be patient. We don't know the underlying reasons why this bill is dying in rules. But I think Rob Nose would be pretty pissed and will remember who was, mad at him. Although I'm mad at him.
So,
yeah. Kathy has her hand up.
Yeah, there are other bills that passed. The The big one, though, on the corporate practice of medicine has gone through. I don't know if the governor signed it yet. Bruce, do you know if that's
I
been
heard
signed?
I heard that she had.
Yeah, I heard she had.
Okay. So that's all done. Um, and let's see, there are a couple of other bills that have been signed. Um, House Bill 3226, which makes the pharmacy service PSAOs, Pharmacy Service Administration Organization, I think, subject to the same pharmacy rules and regulations as PBMs. There's a bill that can allow pharmacists to diagnose and treat COVID. Senate Bill 549 on prior authorization requests was signed by the government, which only affects CCOs. But it streamlines, at least indicates a few things that can't have prior authorization requirements. And let's see, Senate Bill 942 is in the Ways and Means Committee. It requires care for disabled kids over the age of 26, which I know is a concern for a lot of people, especially now with all the monkeying around with the budget bill. So we're still in session, and things may change day to day. I think it's kind of a disappointing session, but I guess everybody is just in a state of confusion. So that's it from legislative, and Bruce can add to it.
Well, I do have an addition to it. It's a health-related topic. It's not a particular bill that the legislative committee was following, but it is significant. SB 726, which has to do with the methane releases at Coffin Butte. And Senator Gelser has been I think the originator of this bill, and it did get signed by the governor today.
What was the bill number again, Bruce?
SB 726.
It seems to me we should communicate with Senator Gelser, congratulating her on this.
I agree. It certainly is a health-related issue. Mike and I live about a mile and a half south of Coffin Butte. And boy, you can tell when the methane is leaking out of the thing.
Wow.
So it's a significant risk factor for the whole community. Approximately 2,500 tons of garbage are distributed at the landfill every day.
Oh.
And it comes from 24 Oregon counties. It's not just Benton County. It's 24 other counties. And methane is a more powerful greenhouse gas, at least 28 times more powerful than carbon as far as destroying the oxygen, the
Ozone.
climate. So yeah, it does. Methane is more effective at trapping heat in the upper atmosphere.
It just shocks me that I was involved in the closure and monitoring of like 3 different landfills, and we did methane collection systems, capture, and then it can be converted into a usable product. It doesn't have to just be let loose into the air because it's percolating through the soil as things are deteriorating. Anyway.
Wow.
Well, they do capture some of it, and there's an electricity generating plant just south of across the street from where the landfill is. And if you're driving down Highway 99, heading south on the west side of the highway, you'll see these flames being off-gassed at that electricity generating facility.
Wow.
But in spite of that, there's a lot of a lot of methane explosions, I guess I would say, where large amounts of methane are released at one time because they build up and they're not able to capture all of the methane. And so it does get into the atmosphere. And I can tell when it's there because
Oh,
it stinks.
man. So shall I write to Senator Gelser on behalf of the board?
Yes, please.
I'm seeing heads nod. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I will do that after the meeting.
And so the Senate Bill 726 is about a monitoring program using, they already do monitor methane there, but this is a more high-tech program of monitoring methane using drones. The fact of the matter is that a renewal for the Coffin Butte landfill is being discussed at this time, and there's actually a community of people who live up near the landfill who are asking the city council or the county councilors to not agree to an expansion of the landfill because of the health risks.
Yeah, that one is making newspaper at least occasionally.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I see that Warren has come on. Maybe we could suspend committee. Oh, was there anything else, Karen and Bruce?
No.
Okay. Maybe we'll suspend committee reports until after we talk with Warren. Let's all put our thinking caps on. I think he'll have something in some challenges for our brains. Warren, thank you for being here, and how are you, and what do you have for us?
I had a pleasant drive today.
Oh, good.
On my third computer of the day, but it always helps to have a spare. So let's see, a number of years ago, I talked to this board actually about doing a survey, and which was then done with some help and guidance from Mid-Valley personnel. And now I've got a new project in mind. One of the things that was a big disappointment to me on the governance board is I had developed a relationship with Oregon Business Industries, with the Hospital Association and with others, and the leadership of the board and the executive director actually wanted to avoid working with business, and I saw that as a critical failing. I have since approached Healthcare for All Oregon about actually starting a group, including some major business leaders. And they always, for about a year, they've been saying how good of an idea about that is. But nothing has ever happened. But I'm actually seeing kind of an interesting climate in the Mid-Valley. And I am kind of looking for a little bit of blessing and encouragement, actually, to start a group that includes some of the major business owners in our area, potentially includes some keep people from Mid-Valley. It may, and this, I haven't talked to him about it, but I actually think there is a chance that I could get a semi-retired hospital executive to work on it. But the intent is to fill in this hole of actually getting business on board with universal care. When I say getting business on board, as far as I'm concerned, business is probably more acutely aware of the problems and the potential solutions than most advocates. The idea is not to bring them on board; it's to give them something to do and to make them feel like they are a part of the process. So anyway, I'm just looking for some blessing. This could be done either kind of under the logo of Mid-Valley, or we could just do it and could get some Mid-Valley people involved as necessary. But anyway, I'm just looking for your blessing and encouragement to for that kind of an idea. I could take longer to.
Thoughts, comments?
I think it's great.
Kathy?
It sounds great. I'm just curious, is it a discussion group or a kind of educational group, or how do you envision it?
I see it as really a problem-solving group. That I mean, my idea that I took to HCAO was sort of a leaders summit, where you get major people from your community, from the community, and I'm talking about CEOs and largely, but other people. I do have some people in mind, but the idea is just to lay out on the table. We have a crisis in healthcare. We have a crisis in healthcare funding. We potentially have a crisis in local ownership and control, and our problems in the Mid-Valley are kind of unique. So that's where I'm kind of encouraged to do this, not as an Oregon thing, but more of as a Corvallis, Albany, and potentially Lincoln County, sort of a thing. The idea is I would probably provide them just a little background, and then they would kind of get some solutions. There are actually business people out there who have been working with the hospital, trying to figure out ways to say, is there a way that major employers in this area can just hire the hospital to take care of their people? And,
Wow.
not as go through an insurance claim process, but almost more like a subscription service model. And I think there's some other models that people could think about, including one of the ones that I thought we might eventually circle back to, used to talk about is public utilities district model. Not exactly like a health district, but that's that sort of model. Does that answer your question, Kathy?
Yeah. And I was remembering too, kind of a two-train thought, that providing healthcare for employees, especially for small businesses, amounts to a disincentive for small business development. And there was a guy who owns an auto body shop out on 34 who actually, this is a number of years ago, I'm blanking on his name or the company, but he was very pro universal health care.
Okay, Bruce.
Yeah, Warren, I think this is this is a great idea to get started in the community. I'm a pretty close personal friend of a major business entity in the Willamette Valley that has distribution of its products nationally and is recognized internationally for the quality of its products. And all of their employees are less than 50 years old. And majority of are less than 35 years old. So I would certainly like to have this businessman talk with you a little further about this.
I'd really appreciate that. That sounds like a great idea.
I'll get working on it.
Okay, Mike.
Good things. One is Carol and I went to a fundraiser for the Good Samaritan Hospital Foundation 2 weeks ago, and the new CEO of a hospital, Cy Johnson, did not run and hide under the table when I brought up the idea of a hospital district. He was interested, and so was Steve Yearling, who was the fellow who kicked me off the foundation for speaking up about single payer. So I would hope they might be willing to be involved. Another question I have is to engage local businesses that are local, but that are controlled by franchises outside of our state. Home Depot, Office Depot. Many of the people that used to be on the hospital board when I was active, and Bruce and I were in practice, were people from local businesses that had a lot of expertise in business. And now a lot of that local business is franchised out. But can we somehow pull in some of the expertise of these outside franchises, since it's in the best interest of their employees, if they care about their employees?
That's an excellent point, and compared with back in the day when we used to have Corvallis Disposal, and where now there's a couple of acres of empty desks, and and that makes it harder in many of these. Many of those, you mentioned Home Depot or some of the major franchise, I think the locals are generally told that all policy will be handled from the central office. But there might be ways to work that out, even if we go to the central office. I've been there. So there is some hope, but that's one of the impediments. Is when we talk about civic community that I grew up in, had a whole lot more local business people in it than we have currently. Does anybody know the new director of the Chamber of Commerce? Okay. All right. Karen.
Warren, if you see some value in Mid-Valley in some way collaborating with this group, sponsoring it, whatever your thinking is on that, I would certainly support having that be part of our outreach effort, in whatever way might work.
Okay. I will maybe pencil out some things and have a little bit of an idea. I think it's kind of important that that some of these major players see it as their group rather than that they're some sort of subcommittee of a local advocate group.
Right. But
Uh,
whatever way we might be able to align ourselves with your goals, be of some support.
Okay, yeah, I see. And one of the things that I keep hitting HCAO on is you're concentrating too much on organization and not enough on coalitions. So this is designed to create not an extension of Mid-Valley, but a partner of similarly destined partner involved in troubleshooting the same crisis. Mark? You muted?
Mark, you're muted.
Now you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the only business owners I know are fairly small business owners. I don't know if you'd want, a long time bookstore or framing business, picture framing business, but I know a couple of good people there. And it also occurs to me, we have a couple of folks right here on this call who've been with Hewlett Packard and might be able to recommend or even maybe sit with you. Holly being an outreach communications chair and a former HP exec, might be a good partner. But Holly, I know you don't need to be signed up for one more thing in your life, but
No, I still have lots of, I have relationships out there. People are currently there, and I'm happy to do whatever. Yeah. Kathy too.
Yeah, I can help. It's very, that kind of stuff is very centralized at HP, but who knows? We can try.
Well, and people have a lot of concerns. There's a lot of contract workers. And I just had a long phone call with a friend last night who has my position. And she texted and said, "Can you talk tonight? I have to run something by you." It's amazing how much you still remember, but it's gotten so weird with how they've, centralized the procurement of different contracted agencies. And there was just some things, but that would be something because the insurance programs are very different. And we need some allies there.
Bruce?
Yeah, Warren, just wanted to add in another little tidbit, and it has to do with Echo Northwest, because this business owner had to go head to head with Echo Northwest through the Oregon Health OHA when they were looking at raising alcohol taxes. And my friend who did this process was livid about how disruptive and distorted OHA's policy was based on Echo Northwest report.
Okay, I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah,
on
I thought you might.
another channel. Yeah, what I would ask is that if any of you have an in with somebody, as in the case of Bruce, I'd appreciate having those names and maybe being on a joint call to recruit some people. Mike?
The county commissioner, I think there's always one on the hospital board, maybe on SHS board. And I think it's probably Gabe Shepard now. So he doesn't fit the business category, but he's on the board of the hospital. any role for him or other commissioner?
Um, yes, I think so. Let me think about that just for uh, just for a bit, but I think there's some possibilities there, and yeah, I do know some people who are on the Samaritan board who are pretty high quality, exceptional people, and not just because they're. So anyway, that's
I have
what
an idea.
Holly.
Yeah, I just had an idea. Philomath. So I live in Philomath, and there's some people. I mean, you're talking some business people. So, Mark, what about the Sullivan brothers? They live in
Oh,
Lyrica, and they are
yeah,
very good.
smart.
Yeah, they're very smart, incredibly smart stewards of their people, and it's a growing, expanding business. That would be something I could reach out.
That sounds excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, the Sullivan brothers. Yeah, they are they are really sharp. I remember a city council meeting where they walked in and outlined entirely how to bring the city in back into balance.
The budget, yep.
The budget when it was in terrible shape. Anyway, yeah,
We'll think about. I'll put my hand. I think about it.
yeah, approaching them might be a really good idea. And they truly care about their employees. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just returned from a wine tasting up in Carlton, and talking to the owners there, and they had a booklet which explained some things, but it was very interesting that they were talking about back in the 90s. A emergency room doctor just came and reamed these vintners because they're generally using migrant labor who was, I mean, they wouldn't go to the emergency room when they got hurt. But anyway, all these wine growers got together and hired a nurse to travel among the migrant workers and check out minor things or get referrals or
That's great.
things, and I like that sort of sense of community, solving problems in that way. I was inspired by it. You had another comment, Mark?
And now it escapes me. Come back to me. Somebody else. Oh, but what I think it seems safe for me to summarize that we are all in favor. We are all supportive. I'm not hearing any dissenting voices here in terms of, oh no, we shouldn't get involved with that. So I think please feel like you've got our support. And yeah, the thing I was going to say is at the advocates meeting on the 23rd, there are going to be a couple of folks from the hospital are going to speak, and one is on the medical side, supervising medical procedures. The other is a VP working on the finance side, Josh Smith. And I don't know if it would be appropriate for somebody from the hospital to be involved, but when I talked to him at the Oregon Health Policy Board meeting, I was impressed. In any case, you might listen in on the 23rd and see what you think of it. Because I think maybe it could be helpful to have somebody from the business side of the hospital.
I saw a job advertisement in the Laundry Report about a week ago for executive director of a physician-owned clinic in the Mid-Willamette Valley. Does anybody hazard a guess on or know anything?
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
No. Yes, I was wondering if the clinic was hiring someone else to run their local operations, but I can't guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite a
Uh,
truthful ad to say it's physician owned anymore, but whatever. Karen
Karen?
has her hand up.
I was wondering about public agencies. I used to work for a university, and our health insurance was part of our budget. And I don't know if public agencies like universities, I don't know if they can get involved at all.
That's an excellent question. Yeah,
There was a presentation along those lines, Karen. There was a presentation at the HCAO annual meeting given by a student who was the leader in getting United Healthcare fired as their insurance agency.
Ah, yeah.
Do you remember that presentation,
Yes.
Mark? Yeah,
Now that you say it, yes, I do.
yeah. It
Yeah.
was pretty impressive. So yeah, I think Karen's suggestion of going to the university to see if they would be interested in, participating in the discussion around how else can we do this?
And
Yeah.
there are public and private universities in Oregon.
Yeah.
Right, that's true. When you said public, I immediately thought, I'm Mike. I'm forgetting her name, but the woman from the health department that spoke a couple of months ago at an advocates meeting.
Oh, Sarah. Yeah, Sarah.
Yeah. I don't know if you'd want a health department exec involved in this or not. That might be pushing it away from your idea, but she was really smart. She was sharp.
Well, that the health department is run by the county clinic or the county representatives. I mean, they are the health officers throughout the state is usually the county counselors.
Oh,
So I wouldn't, I would think it would be worth actually visiting with the county counselors about that very issue.
yeah. So, what else?
I was just going to say that brings you back around to Gabe Shepherd because he's a county commissioner.
Yeah,
So
right.
they're the people in charge of determining the health insurance packages for all the county employees.
Yep.
And he's on the hospital board. So he's got kind of two views available to him of what's going on.
And the county commissioners are who determines how much public health money, how much money public health gets to run their programs.
okay. I love the brainstorming that's going on here.
Well, you asked for it, so here you go.
So here we are.
Okay. Well, I've taken all the time I asked for. So, thank you for that. Oh, Mike.
You're muted, Mike.
I'm awaiting a phone call back from Gabe Shepherd because I'm going to ask him his thoughts about the hospital district idea. Should I say anything about this conversation or ask him to expect a call from Mark or Warren
Warren.
or?
Yeah.
I think for the time being, I would like to give just a little bit more thought to these ideas and kind of figure out what kind of mix uh, might work best. And then my plan is that if you know people, I will work through you or with you to see if we can recruit those people.
Sure. Makes sense.
I won't say anything about this. Yeah.
Any
Okay.
other comments or questions? Okay. Well, thank you for always being creative, Warren. Appreciate the thoughtfulness.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Have a
Great. Good to see you.
good rest of the meeting.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. Well, that was fun. Let's go on to the Finance Committee. Anything you care to throw in there, Kathy?
Sorry, I was writing Tim Weber, who used to be and maybe still is the site manager at HP, to see if he's still there and if he'd be interested in participating in what we were just talking about. But anyway, to answer your question, we missed our meeting in June because of me, because I was sick. And so we're trying to figure out when to meet in July. But the main things probably will be what Karen is reporting on, to see, what have people contributed since the spring fundraising letter. And then actually the next thing we'll be working on is the fall fundraising letter, which we're hoping to do a rewrite instead of what I've been doing the last few times, which is really just an update. So that's kind of the latest. We're also going to do, with Karen's encouragement, kind of a record purge, because we don't have to keep everything forever. And we're going to get together whenever our next meeting is and just go through documents and decide. And there are rules about this, what we need to keep and what we can dispose of. So that, it's very much background stuff, but it keeps us neat and tidy in the background for now and in the future. So that's mainly what we're doing.
Okay. Thank you. And we'll get to Karen in a minute, but outreach and communications. Holly, do you have anything you want?
Yeah, we met last week. Mostly talked about tabling and the rally that was Saturday. Simon gave a report. So we're really happy all the progress and things that the college branch of our group, I can't remember the name again, Mark. College
and Community Council.
Thank you. College and Community Council. And it's been really great. And I noticed several people, younger people at the table, came up to the table and were very excited. And Luke was working the crowd, and it was good. It was a super long meeting. We talked about what would make sense to do. The t-shirts, I think did everyone get a new t-shirt, or if they wanted one yet? They're great. They're very nice, the new ones with Mid-Valley. Have you all seen them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're great. I don't have any to we had some to sell on Saturday. Nobody bought them when I was there, but they're very bright red, and I was in the wash. I rolled it up.
Mine too.
Yeah. So that worked out well. It is very easy to see. It feels like you're wearing a button, because it's right here. It says Mid-Valley Healthcare. It has our logo, the one that we've had for a long time, the map Oregon. And somebody made a crack. It's like, thanks. Something about it was a sarcastic remark about, oh, so universal health care, isn't that like communism? And you guys are wearing red.
Uh,
I'm like, okay, that's fine. But anyway, I mean, it was we didn't really do anything extra at our outreach meeting, just talking about this, the summer. Um, and we didn't have very many people in attendance last week, so that's it.
okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll just throw in the college group did work a lot on the single payer day of action, and although we didn't have a huge crowd that day in front of the courthouse, it was really a well-run event, and Fritz was really at the heart of it. He was on every little piece, and Sarah Finger McDonald did a really nice speech. No family should have to deal with a financial crisis while they're dealing with a health crisis. And she went from there. And of course, she's been there. So we do, I think, have a very special representative and a good ally. But yeah, I'm sorry, Fritz isn't here, but I'll just say, oh boy, he really worked hard at that, and really, it was well run. It was coordinated and put together. Anyway, Karen, you want to do a bit of a treasurer's report?
Sure. We at the end of May we had 19,000 in our account, and then our spring donation efforts to date, we've brought in $3,000 compared to last year where we brought in $13,000.
Ooh.
But last year we sent out 2,699. And then this spring we decided just to send out to our donors. And so we sent out 354 letters.
Big difference. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this spring will go for another couple months. So it's not over yet. But and then let's see, the average donation is $130. And then last spring, the average donation was $281. So it may show that people have less available funds than they did a year ago, which kind of reflects the situation of our nation. I don't know, just some thoughts there.
Well, and also they may or may, even if they have funds, they may be scared about giving when, everything is so unstable financially in the country.
We did have one new donor that gave with PayPal, and I think that was someone that was at one of our protest rallies. It's a new person that that joined our organization. So
Great.
Britt says we get a lot of activity at the tables when there's a protest.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah, we get several pages of sign items, not just 2 or 3.
Okay, well, that's my report.
Thank you. Questions for Karen? All right. Sandy, do you have anything you want to report on?
Nothing to report. This will be my last meeting taking minutes. And I think I'm going to be at large after this. So I'll still be here, but not in the minute taking capacity. So it's been wonderful to work with everybody, and I have always lots of questions for many of you, as I can't pick up every single word. I do not find AI particularly helpful in gathering minutes. It isn't specific enough. It summarizes, so. Not a fan of AI.
You've done an incredible job, Sandy, so we're spoiled.
Amazing job.
Thank you. That's really kind of you.
It's true.
And as you said that about AI and not finding it, I'm into folk music. I immediately thought of the song John Henry, beating the steam engine to get the rails. Humanity over technology.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Mike, do you have anything you want to report on?
This can wait till the end. I wanted to show pictures from the rally and the send off for Stan Taylor and a little update on him, but that can wait.
Okay. Well, let's see. On my side, I did say how well run I thought the May 31st event was, and how I think others have said this in other meetings, but then the rally last Saturday, the No Kings rally, seeing so many young people out there. I mean, we had a wide age range, from 8 to 88 probably, but a whole bunch of college age. And I think they're starting to get this is their life that we're fighting for, and they're joining the fight. That's particularly good to see. But so do come to the annual meeting on June 23rd. We will have it'll be hybrid, so we'll be in the Unitarian Fellowship and on Zoom. And one way or the other, please be there so we can vote on the board office. There's 2 board officers, secretary and president, and the whole group votes about officers, but then we vote, and we need a quorum on the at-large members. Okay, Mike, you're on.
Okay, here's some shots from the rally, and the signs were very clever.
They're amazing.
There's just a shot of, I don't know, there must have been 3,000 people there.
The GT today said 5,000.
Oh, really? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I was waiting for the GT to actually have something. It was today, so.
Oh, good.
5,000.
Very clever signs. Medicare for all, hands off SNAP. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. What if Obama did any of this? They know what if I really like this one.
Oh, that's funny.
No.
Yes.
Oh, King
Whoa,
Way.
whoa. That's great.
And then I got on my tricycle. Bruce has already seen this. It's blurry. We are now at the No Kings rally in Corvallis, Oregon. Both sides of the street filled with people who do not want Trump around anywhere in leadership position. There's the courthouse. Here we are. There's Bruce's band.
Yeah.
Somebody says Medicare for all, universal health care pretty soon.
Yeah, universal health care!
People are angry. People are angry. are angry about our so-called president. And then one more shot of Esther Kim. I can find her. Here she is. She was, again, one of the co-leaders of this larger rally. So got a FaceTime with her and asked her my follow-up questions. And it's just so nice that she's part of this. And it's being a leader and indivisible. I think we need to spend our time with her somehow and see how our organizations can cooperate.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
interesting watching Indivisible just rise up out of the ashes into being a vibrant, large organization. And Fritz and Norina told us that they are now going to Indivisible meetings in Lebanon. It's not just blue areas. And of course, Lebanon had, we may have had 5,000, but to me, it's even more impressive that they had 300 out in
Gives us
very red
incredible.
city. Yeah. You know, I don't know what the real accurate numbers are, but what I've read is that Trump had 20,000 in Washington, D.C., and we had 5,000 just in our little town. I think we're winning the popularity contest.
Yeah.
All right. Anything for the good of the order? That was actually pretty good for the good of the order, Mike. Thank you.
That was great.
I wanted to report on Stan.
Oh, yeah.
He is back in Iowa. Not something he wanted by any means, but Tim Daney took him. He rented a U-Haul and the belongings he wanted to take, and he's in a assisted living facility. He says the food is good. He says he feels kind of in a dream. Not sure this is really happening to him. He has trouble remembering the name of his close friend, Tim Deeney, but he has that intellect that's still out there. And since it's his switchboards that aren't working, if you know what I mean, but his gray matter is still working well. Carol and I were riding with him a month ago, and she was opening a candy bar. It was chocolate, but it had nuts in it, and she knew I shouldn't be around it, and then said, "Well, we can't open this because we can't have nuts in the car." And Stan, with less than a half second, said, "Well, I better get out of this car then." So
That's
anyway,
great.
and Kathy, and let's see who else was there. We had a send-off dinner. Mark, you were there.
Yeah.
For him at the old spaghetti place. And Nancy Roan was there, and she sort of took care of him while we were there at the table. And that was so nice. So he knows he's loved. I hope.
I hope so too. All right. Anything else? Thank you all very much. See you in a week and a half and on the 23rd, and we will actually not that long, is it? It's more like a week. But on the 23rd, either on Zoom or at the Unitarian Church.
Good.
Okay.
Thank